The doors of the makeshift infirmary slammed open. Commander Orus Wren staggered through, his dynium armor blackened with soot and scarred with fresh rents from blade, claw, and fire. Dry blood streaked the plates, some his own, most not. His stride was steady, but the limp in his left leg betrayed the weight of battle, and the heavier burden of what he had seen. The air inside was thick with sweat, herbs, and the copper tang of blood. Rows of cots stretched down the hall, every bed filled. Men he had drilled, fought beside, trusted, lay there in ruin. Some clutched at bandages dark with seepage, whispering prayers to Barinth. Others whimpered like broken children. Too many stared at nothing, eyes already walking the shepherd's path. The silence between moans was worse than any scream. Wren moved among them, his jaw tight, until he reached the final bed. There, at its side, knelt a woman in charred and tattered silks of green. Her auburn hair, matted and streaked with ash, fell like a curtain as she worked with trembling hands over the shattered body before her. When she lifted her head, Wren froze. Bright green eyes, swollen from endless tears, met his. They carried the full weight of her grief and fury, silent knives to his chest. At last, Wren turned his gaze to the man in the bed. The soldier was scarcely recognizable. His face was a map of ruin, one eye swollen shut, his skin purpled with bruises and torn by cruel gashes. Yet his one good eye burned with iron defiance. "Coulter," Wren rasped, voice low but steady. He rested a hand gently upon the broken man's arm. What happened? The lieutenant's chest shuddered with every breath, but his voice, though ragged, carried the weight of truth. "We had been ready, Commander. Days we spent preparing, walls braced, streets barricaded, the wells guarded. The men of Oriar Paith were steady. My elite guard restless, aye, but proud, eager to stand. But in the deep hours before dawn, a chill came upon us, the kind that steals into your marrow. A mist rolled down from the highlands, and the air, Barinth, forgive me, the air hummed with dread. It crept up from the well of the village's heart. The animals stamped and whined, the men clutched their weapons, but none faltered, not yet. Then the ground began to tremble. You could hear it in the sheds, rakes and spades rattling their own dirge. The well burst apart with a sound like mountains breaking. Stone and dirt rained upon us, crushing men where they stood. The first beast came shrieking from that black wound, its hide slick with the earth's bile. Then another and another. They fell upon us. God's wren. They fell upon us like wolves upon lambs. Houses split like kindling under their fury. Whole families swept aside in jaws too large to comprehend. A cloud rolled from one's throat, a reeking miasma that stripped flesh from bone where it touched. I saw children scream once, then melt into silence. The guard did not break, not then. Steel met hide, pike and sword bit deep. Brave souls bought breaths for others with their lives. One detachment drove a beast north, into the pump works. It shattered the timbers, then plunged into the river beyond. Another broke west, leaving fire in its wake. 20 of my men brought one down. 20. They burned alive inside their own armor as its death throes drowned them in fire and acid. Yet still they struck, until the monster's skull split open and it finally lay still. I killed one myself. Coulter's lips twitched in a broken smile, gone as quickly as it came. Buried my axe in its neck while my brothers drove steel into its guts. We thought the tide might turn. But then the ground shook once more. The sun's light itself seemed to wither as shadows bled from the well. And from that cursed pit it rose, the Great One. Its wings spread wider than the village itself, casting all into night. Its eyes burned orange with a hunger I have never known. Its roar did not just shake the walls of Oriar Paith, it shook the marrow of my bones. And before it stood Tasmin. Coulter's good eye glistened, voice breaking. She was no warrior. Not clad in steel nor holding blade, her shawl torn, her braid undone, yet she stood unbowed. She planted her feet in the ash and ruin of her people's home, and she cursed that demon. She screamed binding words, old words, words that made even the beast recoil. Her voice cut through the beast's roar like iron through cloth. She demanded it return to the dark, to be cast out forever. She was fury itself. For a heartbeat, I believed she could send it back to the shadow that spawned it. The Great One hesitated. By Barinth, Wren, it hesitated. Its wings faltered, its head recoiled as if her will alone could force it back into the abyss. I swear I saw it cower. She gave us hope. In that moment, she was Oriar Paith, unyielding, unbroken. I thought, gods forgive me, I thought she might succeed. But I saw it, Commander. I saw the change in its body, the way its muscles coiled, the way its hunger overcame its fear. I screamed, I ran, my axe raised. I shouted no until my throat tore, but I was too slow. It struck faster than I could breathe. Its maw closed around her. The sound was like thunder shattering glass. She was there one breath, gone the next, Tasmin. Gone. Swallowed into nightmare teeth. I struck it. By my honor, I struck it, but its tail lashed me like a mountain's wrath. I flew into the rubble of the elder's house, my bones breaking, my sight fading. The last thing I saw was its wings blotting the dawn, carrying death south across the highlands to the sea. Coulter's chest hitched, the breath rattling within him. His hand clawed weakly at the sheet, as though still clutching a shattered handle from the axe he buried into the beast. The room was silent but for the groans of the wounded, the drip of water, the soft sobs of the woman beside him. Commander Wren stood unmoving, the weight of the lieutenant's words falling like stone upon his shoulders. Oriar Paith was no more. Coulter's voice cracked, his breath rasping like torn bellows. His one good eye glistened as he forced the words out. And Tasmin, the bravest soul I ever saw, swallowed into nothing. The lieutenant sagged back against his cot, his chest heaving, his ruined body trembling with the weight of the memory. Commander Wren stood in silence, his shadow stretching long across the cot. The woman at Coulter's side wept quietly, her tears dripping onto the soldier's arm as if they might wash away the wounds. At last, Wren lowered himself, his scarred gauntlet resting firm but gentle upon Coulter's broken forearm. His face was stone, but his eyes betrayed the storm behind them. "Rest, friend," he said, his voice low and grave, carrying for all in the infirmary to hear. "You have given more than most ever could. More battles will come, and I fear," his jaw tightened, the words bitter as iron, "the coming war has just begun."